the security. So security is one important capability of the Pega platform, right? So most of the projects I have seen, they are all related to government projects, right? We will be able to restrict, or we would be able to secure each rule individually here, right? So that's the level of security that I can provide with the Pega platform. So let us look at the security related features. So let's discuss on why security is important. Why should I even secure my application in the first place? How can I do it? What are the steps involved as part of securing your application? So let us look at these things. Okay, right. Now, why do you think it is important for us to secure the application? Is it necessary? Is it important that I am securing it? Yeah. Why do I need to do it?
Yes. So that the person who do not have access to the application should not use the rules or.
Okay. Agree. So probably preventing any unauthorized access. Yes. If he's not intended to make some changes, he shouldn't be able to do it. Yes, agreed. Unauthorized changes. Then, what about customer data?
Yes, we should always secure the customer data because they are actually what we can say is trusting us with their data. So it should not get into the hands of people who do not have access to it.
Agreed. So customers' data is always our prime concern. So we should always make sure the customer data is always private and confidential, right? So yes, that is another reason why we have to secure your application. So to prevent all this kind of data breaches, right? So prevent any customer data loss, or to avoid some legal and financial penalties also. Right? So when you're dealing with banking related applications or government related applications, so few data is confidential, right? So that can never be disclosed. So in order to make sure all those are intact, I have to secure my application. Okay? Now when it comes to security, I have two things involved: authentication and authorization. Okay, so what is authentication? Authentication is concerned with identifying the user. Right? So without any valid authentication, or until you are confident that the user is who they say they are, we cannot let them access the application. Okay, so this is more like giving them the right credentials, and yes, you are an authenticated user. So this is more about identifying the user and verifying that he can access the application. Now, once he logs in into the application, okay, let's assume two people log into the application, right? One, the CEO of your organization. The other one is an entry-level executive who just joined the organization. So will both of them have the same grants and permissions? No, definitely not. Even though both of them are authenticated users, so they are still employees of the organization, they are both authenticated users, but still the grants inside the application, what they can perform, are different. So that's part of authorization, right? So authorization is concerned with authorization is concerned with what all data the user can see. what all data the user can access or what all actions he can perform on that data. Right? So this is more like once he's into the application, what all they can perform. Okay? So considering both of this, authentication and authorization, yes, both are important. One is more like on the external side and other is on the internal. Okay? So even though both users are authenticated, they might have different authorizations. One could just be an entry-level executive with a very limited access. The other one could be a CEO, who probably has all the available accesses. Right? Yes. So let us go ahead. We'll talk about more on the authorization part. Okay. So where we can divide the access controls into two types. One is access-based, attribute-based access control. Other is role-based access control. So I have two types. So attribute-based is more likely that it is specific to certain properties. Okay. For example, when you receive your credit card bill, okay, so you will receive it in the form of Dear Nayan, so your credit card of so and so has a bill of so and so, right? So that you will receive it, something like this. Let me put it this way. So you wouldn't get the entire card number, correct? So you see all the first digits would be masked with X, right?
Yeah.
And you will get the last four digits, right? It would be something like this. Your card number so and so has a bill of this, right? So you would get it like this. It would be masked, and even your account numbers. Then sometimes your email IDs also, right? So they would be something like this, right? So it would be like this. So these values or probably these properties, considering as developers, okay, these properties, do you think is it only for end users it is displayed like this, or even for the customer service representative also?
For them also.
Exactly. So this is private information, right? So sensitive information which cannot be displayed, even though the customer service executive is an employee of bank, even though he is a trusted employee of the bank, still these details are not disclosed to him. Things like your PAN numbers, Aadhaar numbers, SSN numbers. So they are all sensitive information. So regardless of whoever it is, right? Be it the CEO, be it a customer executive, or be it the customer, these information cannot be disclosed. So this is part of your attribute-based access control. Few properties on specific classes cannot be, or you can say they are restricted for access. So any changes on your card number, can I just make a change on your card number if I'm a customer service executive? No.
No.
Those changes cannot be allowed. So deletions or probably sometimes read option is also disabled. Attribute-based access control is specific for certain properties. Irrespective of what kind of role you are performing on your project, they are restricted. So let's have a look at them. So when I say attribute-based access control, so the main concern is going to be the properties, right? But it doesn't bother what role I'm going to perform. So it's irrespective of the role. And you can see all the records, all the attribute-based access control related ones on the security. Okay. So for that, So access control policy is what we would be using. And we see that most of the times, rather than using ABAC, attribute based access control, we tend to go for RBAC, role based access control. Two types are there, right? ABAC and RBAC. Most of the times we go for RBAC only. So you see a very limited instances regarding ABAC. So let me open one of it randomly. So for access control policy, it is accompanied with one more thing, which is access control policy condition. So all these security aspects can be considered with respect to a condition. So here comes your access control policy condition. So the idea behind this is the property is restricted to be accessed only by certain users. Right? So here if you see the target class is work-cover-task, okay, and the action is going to be a read action, and this is allowed only if py can access is true. This is going to be your access control policy condition. So these are both used in combination. So whenever you have an access control policy, there is a condition to look after the to permit the users. So what is your policy condition here? Let's see. Right. So here what is the condition says? So the policy condition where it is checking for a particular create operator and the assign to. So this, we can define our own policy condition as per the requirements. But access control policy is always applied for specific properties, or it could be for specific class instances, right? And we would use this, this is rarely used. Instead, we go for using role-based access control most of the times, right? But yet, I also have this approach of attribute-based access control on the Pega platform. Okay, right. So now on the role-based access control, we will restrict users based upon their role. Okay? So what kind of role they are going to perform on my application. So depending upon that, we will provide them with that RBAC. Now this RBAC would start with,